Alright, video log 2. I don't even remember what part I'm on. I know that I was talking about being on the lam for a couple of days. That was the 19th and 20th. Yeah. Okay, so I had to Lawton and I stayed the night on the 19th with one of my contacts in Lawton. And I'm on the phone with the FBI pretty much all day on the 19th trying to figure out what's going on. They can't figure out what's going on, but there's definitely a task force out trying to figure something out, what to do with me, because I'm such a danger and a threat. Wow. Whole task force. Apparently the FBI, state troopers, and local law enforcement all trying to sit around a room and figure out how to get poor little old me sitting in my trailer. Wow. Wow. Anyway, so 20th or 21st, can't remember what it is, I'm on the phone with the FBI. They finally call me back and they say, hey, listen, everything is diffused. You are safe to go home. Nobody's going to mess with you. The local law enforcement and state law enforcement have been told they are not allowed on your property and to leave you alone. So I start heading home. About 20 minutes after this call, Sheriff Wayne McKinney calls me and he says, hey, listen, the DHS, I don't believe with this, but the DHS went behind my back. They found out that your daughter was in Tennessee and they're picking her up right now as we speak. I pretty much was ballistic, as was her mother at this point. We come home that afternoon, and from here it was an insane fight mentally. Inside it was a struggle not to want to go get her back by force, by any means necessary, because she's now in state custody and I didn't do anything wrong. Her mother didn't do anything wrong. Now, when they went and got her, remember they had two reasons why they were trying to get her in the beginning. And, you know, the law wouldn't allow them to take it, so they had to get a judge to circumvent the law, Brent Russell, to let them take her. Let me find what my paperwork here where it's talking about the reasons now. Alright, so now, if you remember, on the 18th, the sheriff called and said that there was a protective order. Misleading me? I don't know. I like Wayne McKinney. I like our sheriff and I support him. So it's hard for me to say this. But there's a possibility that he was trying to goad me into a fight so that they could take her. I don't know, and I hate to say that. But on the 18th, when he said that there was a protective order, there was no protective order signed. As you can see, this is on the 19th. Here, let's see if I can do this without showing any names. It says right here on the 19th that the 19th of October 2010, Abigail Wilson had this signed by a judge. Now, here's the reasons why now they're trying to take her. And this is the reasons that a judge allowed them to take her. Let's see here. It goes through. It says, number one, I'm a child welfare worker. So not all these are reasons. It just states that, you know, she's a child welfare worker, that she's recommending services. It says here that, here's one of the reasons, on April 16, 2010, the person responsible for the child's care, that was us, Amanda and I, agreed that Mr. Dyer would not stay at the residence during nighttime and would have no unsupervised interactions with the minor child. We did that. We followed that, actually. On or around 6/08/2010, workers spoke with persons responsible for child, Mr. Charles Dyer and Miss Amanda, and to recommend a voluntary service plan be completed, and the above safety plan remains intact during this time. The service plan would include sexual offender program for Mr. Dyer to address his propensity to offend, and a non-offender program for Mrs. Amanda. So, all they want me to do is complete the service plan and say that I like to rape children. Wow. Anyway, of course, Mr. Dyer has refused the voluntary service plan and stated that Miss Amanda would work the plan if she needed to. Worker requested a petition to be filed to find the child deprived due to the lack of cooperation by the PRFCs, that's us, and the foreseeable risk of an alleged sex offender living at the residence. So I'm already guilty. There is no innocence until the state proves my guilt. I am guilty until I prove my innocence. That's the way things run now. Next reason here. Alright, Amanda's agreement to complete a voluntary service plan. This plan included that Mr. Charles Dyer and any person associated with him, including his family, would not have contact, supervised or unsupervised, with the child. So, now what they're using is whenever they forced her, under extreme duress, to agree to sign a service plan, which never was signed, stating that that my family, none of my family would ever have contact with her child again, they're using that against her. As of this date, service plan has not been signed. See, it says there it wasn't signed. On Friday, October 15th, 2010, Sheriff Wayne McKinney received a telephone call from Mr. Dyer. Mr. Dyer advised Sheriff McKinney that he would not be abiding by the state recommendations and that he is prepared to take up arms to protect his family. Am I not allowed to take up arms to protect my family? Isn't that something that's part of our Constitution and the groundwork for our country? Isn't that what our entire country is founded on? Taking up arms to defend our family from a tyrannical government? I guess not. I'm wrong. Mr. Dyer stated that he was aware that DHS would be filing for emergency custody and would be using the Stevens County Sheriff's Office to initiate the order. Mr. Dyer stated that he respected the sheriff and his deputies and did not want them involved. Mr. Dyer continued to tell Sheriff McKinney that they will not be signing the service plan or abiding by it. Hell no, I wasn't going to sign it or abide by it. And I'm being honest. I'm not trying to subvert the law or do anything I'm not supposed to. We're not going to sign that thing. Now, you'll love this one. Here's a reason that they took her from us. Mr. Dyer communicates with fellow militia members via the internet. In the blogs, Mr. Dyer has stated the following on October 13th, 2010 at 11:51 p.m. I sat for 4 hours alone tonight with tears streaming down my face, doing the best I could to fill M16 magazines, prep body armor, and adjust my gear, barely able to see. During this time, there must have been 1,000 questions that ran through my head. So it was the beginning of that one that I read earlier, and I don't have that. According to Lieutenant Lawson Guthrie, Mr. Dyer's statements are extremely alarming and need to be addressed immediately due to his history and his comments about bearing arms to protect his family. So I guess if anybody out there that says that they have the right to bear arms to protect their family, you could lose your child. Mr. Dyer also admits to being in the home with the child after the court hearing, where he and Miss agreed that he would have no contact with her daughter. Mr. Dyer stated in his blogs that he was continuing contact with the child. Now here's my statement. Here's how I continued to have contact with the child. Mr. Dyer stated, "Tonight I got on my knees beside the bed with my daughter and said the last bedtime prayer that I ever will with her and kissed her on the forehead for the last time. She has no idea that tonight was the last time that she'll see me. All I can do now is sit and cry with her mother as the tyrannical government has now stolen my family from me because of my refusal to back down or shut up. So because I prayed with my daughter and kissed her on the forehead for the last time, because I said goodbye to her, they're going to take her from me." On October 19th, 2010, Worker was informed that Amanda and Mr. Charles Dyer picked up the child from school on October 18th. Mr. Charles Dyer continues to have access to the child, and Miss Amanda, is not willing or able to protect her child from the foreseeable dangers that Mr. Dyer poses. And since I wasn't ever alone with her, I guess the foreseeable dangers would be Amanda sitting there and watching me rape her daughter. Yeah, I don't think so. Now, this worker, this is Abigail Wilson, this worker believes the child has been placed in inordinate, imminent risk of health and safety. This is the exact same worker that during the taped conversation with DHS said that the child was in no imminent danger. And then they signed to take her, which they did do. They went to Tennessee and they kidnapped her. And I'll carry that on in the next segment.